All right. Um, hey, Fred, thanks for joining us today. We are doing a service spotlight for your service here, the Insight Service. Can you introduce yourself and your role on the Insight Service team?
Yeah, sure thing. So my name is Fred Tally-Foos. I am the campus engagement coordinator at Data to Insights, also called D2I. And the Insight service is one of the ways that D2I interacts with the University of Texas campus. So it is kind of a one-stop shop for access to all of the analytical products that D2I has produced, as well as a lot of the analytical products that other teams on campus have produced. We host those and make them available to people who have been granted access, and they use those for whatever it is that they need analytics for. So my role on the team is I help process those incoming requests, as well as contribute to making sure that the site is usable and the user experience is functional.
Awesome, thank you. In simple terms, how do you describe what Insight Service does to someone outside of enterprise technology, someone to the UT community?
Yeah, so the Insight service is a catalog, essentially, of products that serve some sort of analytical purpose. So in this case, that usually means some sort of dashboard or report that has been created with the purpose of giving decision makers on campus the insights that let them make better decisions. So whether that's information about their students in their CSU, or if it's information about campus operations, we have put that information into insights in a way that makes it accessible to the right people so that they can make better decisions for campus.
Awesome. This kind of extends to your answer there, but what makes Insight different from just searching for data across multiple systems?
Yeah, so in some ways it's not entirely different. What it does offer is it ideally simplifies your search. So where in other cases you might have to go to a lot of different places, you might need to know just from, the rumor mill where something is, we try to make sure that everything is very findable for the right people when they need it. So we try to provide that extra context and the information that lets you make sure you're using the right source, all those other things that can make a broad search harder. We try to simplify and make it more straightforward, get you to the answers faster.
Awesome. Who are the primary users for Insight, for insights across campus?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. It's technically available. Anybody can go to insights.utexas.edu and access the service. Anybody can go in and they'll see there's some public resources that are available. Once you've logged in and you've passed the UT single sign-on, which is available to all students and faculty and staff, you'll see a different set of resources. And that's dependent on who you are and what your responsibilities are on campus. So the short answer is anybody can use it. The specific answer of who uses it the most and who benefits the most from it is going to be two primary groups. You've got analysts who are tasked in their role across campus, usually of pulling together information and presenting it to different audiences. We work with a lot of analysts that either need to host their final products or they need to go and find information to bring into their work. And then the other side of it is the leadership. So leadership across campus, whether it's for the university or it's in a specific CSU, they're going in and using usually a set of specific resources that they know can be found there and use that to answer questions about their CSU operations and strategy.
Cool. Awesome, thank you. Can you share an example of how Insights helps faculty, staff, or leadership make decisions?
Yeah. So this is a good question. And so to give a specific example, the Insight service, like I said, is a hosting service, right? So it does not actually, you're not going to go in and input information and get insights back from the catalog, right? But if you were to go in and let's say that you were needing to make decisions about which classes you're going to offer in your academic CSU, you're on that team. You could go into the Insight service and pretty quickly find a dashboard that tells you information about historical course offerings, as well as the kind of important insights about those course offerings, how many students took those different courses, what their backgrounds were, et cetera. At the same time, you might want to navigate and look at degrees granted over the course of the past several years, because that might give you information about trends of which degrees students are pursuing. Maybe that feeds into your decision. That's also located on the Insight service. So you can pivot between these different resources pretty quickly. And the other piece of it is really make it your own. So like people, are used to bookmarking resources in their web browser. That's great. But when you do that, if things change on the other end, you might lose the resource, right? In Insights, we do our best to make sure that those are always up to date. And when things change on the product side, we make sure that it's changed on the catalog side as well. So that's, I would say, like an example of how somebody might make decisions to help campus is they would go in and they've built out really their suite of resources that they need for their decision making, and they can quickly pivot between those and just hopefully turn a process that would have required 15 emails to 15 different offices pulling everything together. Instead, you can just go to one place and pull all that information together in one session rather than over a span of weeks, which it often can be otherwise.
Yeah, that's really interesting and just so beneficial for leadership and beyond. Yeah. What types of questions or challenges does Insights help people answer?
Yeah, so it really is across the entire spectrum. So we have it is split across all sorts of data domains. So you can come to Insights if you have questions about students at University of Texas. You can come to Insights if you have questions about the actual facilities on campus. We have resources related to financials. We have resources related to really anything that someone on campus might need to understand to make campus run. And that's because we are the hosts, right? So it doesn't rely on our team being the subject matter experts in all of those areas. Rather, we just pull in those resources that other teams have put the work in to create and make available. We're just helping people find them, right? So whereas it maybe would have been harder to find that specific resource that answers your question about faculty or HR or whatever it is, we have organized it such that if you have a rough idea of what you're looking for, you can find exactly what you're looking for a lot faster usually.
Awesome. If someone wants to get started with Insights, what should they do first?
Yeah, so I'll answer this, I think, two ways. The first thing is if you want to get started with exploring it, you just need to go to insights.utexas.edu, log in, and it will show you what you have access to. And so if you are a student and you just want to see what's there for you, you're welcome to go in and you'll see some publicly available analytics. If you are a staff member or a faculty member, you are going to find a lot of other resources that might be relevant to your work or might be a surprise. Now, if you are interested in working with us to get your resources put on the Insight service, we'd be happy to help you with that. And I would say just you can email us, go to insights@utexas.edu, and you'll have either myself or one of my team members on the other side of that email, and we'll work with you to get that resource hosted in the best way possible.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And then my very last question that I have is, how do you see Insights evolving over the next year?
That is a really good question. So we just recently did a little bit of a revamp. Our team kind of took an audit of how the service was working, and we tried to make some improvements, especially around user experience and accessibility. So some of those things like web design and and color contrast and all those things. So we did a good pass on that. And I think that is something we're really proud of. In the next year, though, I think we're really looking to what are the gaps as far as resources that currently don't exist on the service, what's not being hosted there, and also how can we better integrate this with some of those campus-wide systems. For example, our metadata management team at Data to Insights has another service called Elation. It is a very comprehensive and helpful service to understand what data exists at the University of Texas. There are ways probably that we can further integrate the Insight service with the Elation service. We're going to be exploring all of that and more in the next year. But I would say it's definitely focused on like more information being pulled in and being better available to the right people. That's always kind of our North Star. And I think that'll be what guides us this year too.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing all of that. And I think that the team is doing an amazing job, and being able to, chat and talk about the Insight service and, the big impact that you guys make and not realizing it, that you guys play a key role.